Hi everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the wonderful supportive comments over the last week since the news of the channel being demonetized. It really means a lot. Your words have motivated me to keep narrating and sharing these stories. With the aid of a viewer of the channel, some human divine intervention has taken place to allow the channel to be re-monetized. Of course, I'm delighted by this outcome. However, I have been burned twice now and still live in fear of it all being snatched away at some unknown point in the future. The first time it happened back in February was a warning I did not heed. I won't make that mistake again. So despite the good news, things will not continue as before. Over the weekend I spent a lot of time researching, listening to advice and mulling things over. There are no easy solutions, but I have come to the decision to move the majority of Stories from the Sky SFF to Substack. There are many benefits to this, but also a few downsides which I will explain here so you understand my decision. For those who don't know, Substack is a platform primarily for writers and bloggers to host and monetize their work online and as an email newsletter. Recently it has expanded to include more content types, video and audio. The idea would be to upload my stories to the site, which can be accessed there and on the app, as well as sending an email every week to subscribers with all of the week's stories. Benefit 1 is having an email list instead of an audience owned by YouTube or any other platform. Substack does not own the email list, so if I decided to move away from that platform, I would still be able to contact subscribers independent of any big tech overlords. Benefit 2, less emphasis on gaming algorithms and depending on metrics for success. As a YouTuber, I'm limited in what risks I can take because if a few stories don't find an audience, the channel will suffer. For a long time I have wanted to share old fantasy and mythology stories. Yes, there are 2 Fs in SFF, but I've held off because much of the audience is only interested in sci-fi, so initial views would be lower and YouTube would stop spreading all my videos. The same is true of sharing works from current indie authors, which I'd also like to do. On Substack I am much less limited in this regard. It is not an attention economy, rather a place where quality is allowed to shine. Benefit 3 is stable monetization. There are no ads on Substack. The only source of income is from paid subscribers. Income is more predictable and less dependent on the performance of individual posts. Also, I'm paid by the audience, not by YouTube. I'm not going to be randomly demonetized overnight. And the downsides. Downside 1 is not everyone can pay for a subscription. The minimum subscription level on Substack is $5 a month. However, most subscribers will be free subscribers. You don't have to pay. In fact, the majority won't, and that's completely fine. Most of my content will remain freely available. Downside 2, moving is hard. Not everyone will make the jump. In the short term, I will lose out, but over time more people will join and the audience base will recover. This has been mitigated by the YouTube channel being re-monetized, so the transition can be smoother. Downside 3, Substack, like all platforms, has had a few issues with monetization of extreme political views, racism and spreaders of disinformation. Their attitude seems to be one of free speech for all, which is admirable, but not everyone is comfortable with those kind of views being shared. From my point of view, to censor or not is a problem all platforms have at some point. X now, Facebook back in the day, and YouTube has had plenty of problems of that sort, so I'm not too worried about it. Personally, I like the way Substack is set up for creators instead of advertisers, and it has functions for growth and multimedia that set it apart from other platforms. Ultimately, for Stories from the Sky to continue, I need a stable place where I don't need to worry every 6 months about whether I can continue. Substack seems to be the best place to do that. And all the while, I can make sure you, the fantastic viewers and listeners, continue to enjoy the stories whether you're a free subscriber or if you're able to contribute financially. You may ask, what about Patreon? I already have a Patreon set up with some brilliant backers there, so a possibility was just moving everything there. However, Patreon is not built for growing an audience. There are no recommendations, no connections to other creators, and no way of new people finding my work. To avoid conflict between Substack and Patreon subscriptions, I will be moving away from Patreon, with backers there having the option of continuing as paid subscribers on Substack or to become free subscribers if they no longer wish to pay. Thank you all for understanding why I am moving the bulk of my content from YouTube to Substack. I hope I have made my reasons transparent and clear. Now I'm going to lay out my plans for the move and the schedule and all of those kind of things. If you are a Patreon backer, I'll contact you directly there to let you know how to proceed and to answer any questions. First of all, I want to make clear the YouTube channel will not be removed, nor will any of the videos posted here. Everything that is freely available now will continue to be freely available, assuming YouTube doesn't want to take all that away too. In fact, I will continue to post a video every Friday on YouTube. Regardless of its monetization practices, it's still a good place to find new viewers and spread, and I hope those videos will encourage some people to discover more on Substack. These Friday stories will stay free forever, and every fourth week will be a compilation. I have always posted on Mondays and Fridays, and I will continue to do so on Substack. The Friday posts will be the same as the YouTube videos I just mentioned, however the Monday stories will only appear on Substack and will be available for free for a month. After that month they become part of the archive, which is only accessible by paid members. That means if you keep up to date, you can continue to enjoy the 2 stories every week without spending a cent. Additionally, I will post a third free story every week exclusively on Substack. This will be a bit experimental, a different genre, mostly fantasy, but may stray into action, adventure, or even horror. I'm not totally decided yet. It's my chance to branch out without the pressure of an algorithm, try some new things. These stories will also go into the paid archive after a month. Finally, there will be a 4th story every week, exclusively for paid subscribers. In the last year or so, Patreon backers have enjoyed a longer story every month. Now that is going to be every week for Substack paid subscribers. I won't be doing full novels. They take so long to produce and are rarely worth the time. However, if there's enough interest, I may publish full novel audiobooks in serialized form over the space of a couple of months on Substack only. In total, for free Substack subscribers there will be 3 videos a week, and for paid subscribers an exclusive longer story and permanent access to the archive. The way Substack typically works is subscribers get emailed every time a post is published. However, with 4 posts a week, this will quickly get annoying and your inboxes will get clogged. I know I wouldn't be too happy with that. Instead, when I publish the stories, you will not get an email notification immediately, but can watch them on Substack using a browser or the app. Then, on Saturdays, I will send a newsletter email to everyone, including all the stories from the week, plus some comments of my own about my thoughts on narrating them. If there's interest, I may also write some articles with recommendations, deeper dives into particular stories, and author spotlights. I'm not committing to that yet, but if it's something you'd like to see, let me know. What do you need to do to support me on Substack and continue enjoying the stories? Go to storiesfromtheskysff.substack.com, and I'll put that link in the description, and enter your email. I recommend making an account there, but I don't believe it's strictly necessary. When you sign up, there will be a few subscription tiers. The first is free subscriber. You pay nothing, no credit cards required or anything. The second is monthly paid subscriber. It's $5 a month, the lowest the platform allows me to charge. The third is annual paid subscriber. This is $50 a year, so a discount in exchange for commitment. The final one is founding member. This is like the annual subscriber, but a higher cost. It's just for those who want to contribute more money, so I'm not expecting anyone to do that. This transition will take place over the next few weeks. Things might not appear to change at all at first. The first stories will appear on Substack in concurrence with YouTube for a short time, and all will be freely available. That will continue until the 21st of October, a Monday, which will have the first Substack exclusive short story and mark the beginning of the Substack schedule of 4 stories a week. So until the 21st of October, everything will be normal, a grace period in which you can go over to Substack and get used to watching and listening to the stories there. During the transition period, I will also be uploading old Patreon exclusive stories to Substack to go into the archive accessible for paid subscribers. Along the way, there will be hiccups. I'm just getting to know the new platform, so please forgive any technical issues and weirdness early on. I'll try my best to make it as smooth a transition as possible for you all. And at some point I'll work on publishing the stories as a podcast too, but that's for the future. So that's all the technical details, and now I'm going to talk about how I couldn't do this without you. The last week has been an emotional journey. It started with the sudden news of demonetization that annoyed me at first, as I had to make another appeal video. Then it left me despairing when that appeal was rejected. At that point I thought the whole Stories from the Sky project was dead. All that work. I shared the situation here, and not long after I was overwhelmed by the messages of support for me and outrage at the system. I was enheartened by those who offered their support and reminded me how the stories I narrate have become a positive part of your lives. That led to a few days of intense research and planning to come up with a way of continuing. I knew the road would be tough, but I didn't want to give up. In part for myself, as I enjoy this and it helps me live a little better. In part to resist stubbornly and refuse to let YouTube win, but in most part because I didn't want to let you all down. I was all set to go ahead with the move to Substack, knowing it would be tough, when I learned one of the viewers or listeners of the channel had gone above and beyond to help get the channel monetized again. That was a strange feeling. Obviously it was amazing news, and I was delighted to have the income back and the channel appreciated, and I am eternally grateful to that person. At the same time, I'd already moved past it. I'd envisioned something new. I can't go back to how it was before. Not only because there's the fear of the whole charade happening again, but because I've learned more about myself as a creator and about you as a community. And I want to do more. That's why I'm committing to 4 videos a week, 3 of which are freely available, instead of the previous 2. I'm committed to making Substack an amazing place for you to enjoy my stories while maintaining a presence on YouTube. In this strange turn of events, the channel and the whole of Stories from the Sky has actually expanded and improved. Sometimes it's that jolt of reality and danger that prompts us to move forward. I invite you to join me as we head into the future. I encourage you to join the Substack email list and engage with the platform. Again, the link for that is in the description. If you can't afford to become a paid subscriber, that's completely fine. Although $5 a month doesn't seem like a huge amount, it's one of those cumulative subscriptions that we all have with so many services these days. I want everyone to be able to enjoy the stories, paid or not. You will not miss out on anything as a result of this change. However, if you can afford to contribute and value the stories I narrate, I would deeply appreciate it. In the future, I would very much like to transition away from dependence on YouTube and ads and instead be rewarded for my work by fantastic viewers and listeners. I've tried to make the paid content good value for money, but the paid subscription is more than just buying content. It's supporting a creator to continue improving, expanding, and sharing a craft. You are the ones who will keep Stories from the Sky going, and I cannot be more grateful for that. I will finish by attempting to express my sincerest gratitude for everyone who has reached out with words of support, advice, and understanding. Those who have commented their love of the stories and desire for me to keep going. Those who have simply commented on stories, liked videos, or just enjoyed watching them. You are the heroes of this modern-day sci-fi adventure. You are the ones who have resisted the dystopian corporate overlords, and you are the ones I'm delighted to share the future with. Thank you all so very much.